What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Lambo Plays podcast, episode 37, UFC 281. This damn show is going to be a banger today. I got two very, very sharp MMA minds coming here. One is a newcomer, a very good friend of mine. We do spaces together. And another one is a guy that's been here before, another very, very sharp mind in the MMA community. And we're looking to bring you guys bangers for this UFC 281 card. Great card, great guests. And without further ado, before I even bring in my guests, I have to shout out my chat here. Headley1, what's up, buddy? MMA Goulash says pure violence. That's what I'm looking for on this card. Mushroom is in the house. What's up, buddy? Dumpy, what's up, my friend? And look at this, Daz. Thank you very, very much. $25 dono from Daz before the show even goes on here. Thanks a lot, buddy. You didn't have to, but I appreciate it. My show appreciates it. Thank you very much. Luke Golding, Nick Castillo, Brent, all of you in chat, thank you very much. Jack, new to the Lambos, thanks for joining, buddy. And Nazgul, thanks very much. Before I bring in my guests, last week, god dang, was it a crazy show on Live Spaces. Huge props hit. Just a great week overall for MMA betting and the Lambo show. And with that being said, I will have to bring in my co-host. What is up, Timothy Troiano? How you doing? Are you ready for this crazy card, bro?
Dude, I'm super pumped. It's gonna be great. There's not like one fight I'm not excited about on this card.
Yeah, it should be a great card. I don't know if I would say that, but yeah, I mean it's going to be a great card. Next up, it is our guest, and it is none other than John Kelly. What's up, buddy? Are you ready for UFC 281?
You know it, man. I'm super excited like you guys. UFC 281, a lot of really fun fights. And I'm excited to hear what you guys are cooking up for the Lambo. Obviously, I have a little bit of my stuff prepared, but I know Tim's in his bag with the big long shot props. Narco's on it as well. And we got another one coming on who I'm not going to spoil it. I'll let you do the honors. But I know between the four of us, I think we can cook up something nice here.
Oh, yeah, man. And again, thanks for joining us here. And the last but not least guest here is a first-time appearance, my co-host on Twitter Spaces, John. What's up, the Martian? How you doing, brother?
What's up, everybody? Thanks for having me on, Mike. We got the Pennsylvania Johns in the house. We got Narco and Tim, and we're just gonna, rock out with some good plus money plays. I know the format. I did some research. I got my plus 300s or higher. High expectations coming off of last week, though. I know Narco was absolutely killing big plus money bets. I mean, plus 1,100, plus 3,000. I mean, this guy was hitting everything last week. So we got some high expectations on our shoulders. Let's hope we keep it up. And it's an amazing card. I mean, 281 top to bottom. Great fights, like Tim was saying. And let's get right into it.
All right. Thanks for coming on, John. 38 of you already in here. I am sure this number is going to keep growing throughout the night. And we have to start because we have 14 fights to go through. And the first fight of the night, it is in the light heavyweight division, Carlos Ulberg versus Nikolai Negumereanu. And you can kick this one off, Tim. What do you have for your Lambo play here?
All right, so I think this fight is kind of, I've been going back and forth with the side trying to pick who I think is going to win. And I'm kind of leaning on the Ulberg side. I think both of these guys' strengths go in very well against the other person's weaknesses. And I just think that Ulberg will be better. And I'm banking on my bet that Negumereanu's head is going to just stay as big as it is and as blockhead as he is. And he'll be able to take the shots. I kind of like Ulberg by points most in this one. I kind of at plus 400, just seems a little bit off. I think that he wins a decision in a lot of these type of fights where even against Fraudio Charant, he kind of kept it range and didn't want to. He was like an overcorrection from his Kennedy fight. So I like the points at plus 400.
All right, points for plus 400 on the Ulberg side. John Kelly, what do you got here?
Yeah, so Tim stole my thunder a little bit there. I thought maybe I'd have a hot take. Most people think Oldberg by knockout. I like Oldberg by points. Plus 340 on FanDuel is still available. But yeah, pretty much the same sentiment. You know, Nikolai, King Nikolai will always be king to me for cashing a couple big underdog bets. I know Martian was on him in the past as well. But this one's different. I think the matchup is difficult for him. I expect Oldberg to jump out to a big striking advantage early in the fight. And maybe Nikolai, he's been pretty durable through the course of his career. Maybe he can survive and Oldberg beats him 30-27, maybe 29-28. So plus 340, that's going to be my Lambo play for this one.
All right, plus 340. Also on the Oldberg decision side, Martian, got anything different here?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw it, but like me and John both kind of reacted the same way. I had that one written down as well, but I mean, this fight is a fight that I struggle to really plant my flag on. I've been going back and forth all week, and both guys have their path to victory. And to just give a little bit of a contrarian take on this one, if you're thinking the Narcomanu side, then I think Narcomanu's late round props, round 2, 750, round 3, plus 1400. You could see Oldberg, drown into the pace. Maybe the grappling gets going for Nergomano, and it's probably not going to be in round 1. Poteria made it to round 2. So if Nergomano can get his game plan going, those 2 rounds should be good for him to finish the fight. So this is a great fight to kick off the card, though. I mean, last week we had Tamaris, Vidal, and Ramona, and then we got this week. So this is an upgrade already.
You mean you didn't enjoy that 1 minute KO? I mean, that was exciting.
I enjoyed how fast the fight got over with. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the only thing we enjoyed. Yeah, for me, honestly, I kind of have the same sentiment as Tim and John that this fight goes to decision, but I'm on the opposite side. I'm on a Negumereanu decision line. It's plus 500. I just think, I do believe Oldberg is better. He's the better striker. But the all-around overall MMA, in Negumereanu, I believe is better. Like, he's got the better clinch work. The guy is shown very, very good cardio, very good durability. I just think the clinch work, the dirty work is going to come from Negumereanu. And the later this fight goes, the more it's going to favor him. And the only thing is, I know he has some stoppages, through attritional work, stuff like that. I just think the bigger cage kind of helps Oldberg stay away from the clinching early. But as the fight goes on, like I said, I think he's going to get to him. I think the pressure is eventually going to get to Oldberg. I don't know if he's going to stop him, and that's why I went with decision. It's plus 500. I honestly don't mind the split here either, because I do think it's probably going to be a close fight if it gets to decision. And that split is plus 800. If fight ends in split, it's plus 800. So I do have some of that as well. But yeah, I kind of think this fight's going to go to decision, but I'm on the Negumereanu side here. Moving on, fight number 2. It is in the bantamweight division. It is Julio Arce versus Montel Jackson. John Kelly, what do you have here?
Yeah, so for this one, I have Julio Arce by points at plus 300. So it barely met the plus 300 criteria. But this was one where I really didn't see any super long shot ones that kind of intrigued me. I actually do think Montel probably wins the fight, but I think Arce by decision is probably where most of the value is. I think that captures most of his win condition as well. So not a super long breakdown for me, but I'd say Arce by points for my Lambo play.
All right, Arce by points for John Kelly. Martian, what do you got, buddy?
I like Arce in this fight on the money line. I'll be backing him. But I think the more valuable line could be the ITD line for Arce plus 550. I just see him being able to outstrike Montel here. And I think that he is a very capable grappler. And if Montel is shooting in some sloppy takedowns, I think a sub is very possible too. So, low confidence in this one. I'm not going to be betting it. I'm just going to put all my action on Arce money line, but I think that that's the best prop. Like John said, not much that sticks out here.
All right. He is also on the Arce side, but ITD. I'm going to go on the opposite side. I'm not a big Montel Jackson guy, but I do think the guy has he has insane power. He drops a lot of people. I just don't think he's a great finisher. He has the power to probably drop just about anybody, but the finishing ability, I don't, JP Buys, not finishing JP Buys is kind of questionable to me. Like he should have finished him there. However, I do think Arce leaves himself open for that straight left hand, and man, Montel Jackson throws it with a lot of power. We've seen Arce get knocked out recently against Yadong Song. I know he's faced guys like, Arosa and Ewell, who are tall, lengthy guys, and he's done well. And they're also, like, Ewell is a southpaw as well. I just don't think Ewell offers any, much power with his punches. And I do think Montel Jackson's a lot faster than those guys. So athletically, strong power, it's all on Montel Jackson's side. I do see, why people favor Arce because of the price. But, man, I just see, honestly, I see Montel Jackson getting his first KO here just because of that straight left hand. I think he's going to land it on Arce. It kind of looked like to me on the scales that Arce had a kind of like a tough weight cut because he was very happy. It seems like he was really excited that he made weight. And so I'm not going to put too much stock into that. I just think Jackson KO is very, very live. It doesn't hit the 300 mark. It's a plus 275. It's a Toyota Corolla play, but that's what I feel here. I feel like Jackson's going to get the knockout here. Tim, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I think he did knock out Bays like 8 times in that fight from what I remember, but they just didn't stop the fight. Yeah, I think you're right on the instincts. When he does get people killed, he's not going in for the finish the same. Like he just doesn't have killer instincts. But I'm with you. I think the speed difference here is going to be the biggest thing. I just I'm like going back and forth between KO or fight ends and split, but I'm with you on this. I think it's going to be Montel is just too fast for him and connects on something and actually gets the finish.
All right. He's also on the Jackson finish. Yeah, I don't know, man. Athleticism, speed, length, I mean, all favors him. And Arce looked really good against the guy, in his last fight, against the guy that's very aggressive, that throws winging shots. And he's going to look very good against those guys. But Montel's a little more technical, and his punches are a lot more straighter. So, yeah, it should be a very, very good fight, though. Moving on, fight number 3. It is in the featherweight division. It is Mike Trizano versus Sung Woo Choi. And we will kick this one off to Martian. What do you have here for your Lambo play?
This one is going to be a Honda Civic play, which is what kind of car I have personally, but it's going to be Choi KO plus 285 on Bet Online. That's what it was last night. I don't know if it's moved or not, but I see this being, a striking fight. We saw Trizano get dropped twice in his last fight. It was with the left hook, and if you recall the Erosa fight, the left hook of Choi was the one that knocked him out there. So I just think these guys are probably going to trade, and I think that Choi is actually more durable. I know he got dropped versus Culibao 2 times, but I think he recovered pretty well there and kept fighting well. He won the 3rd round after getting dropped late. So I think that the firefight favors him more, and it's going to be Choi KO. I got his money line as well here.
I am right there with you. You can get it at plus 295 if you have Bet Rivers or Unibet. So if you have those, I think that's the best price out there, plus 295. I'm going right there with you, man. I think, Trizano historically has been very durable up until his last fight, right? He got knocked out. He got knocked down in that fight prior to that knockout. His wins have not really been impressive. Yeah, Ludovic Klein kind of looks good, but it was 45 and Klein, completely gassed out. The problem with Trizano is I doubt he's going to wrestle. Like, he didn't wrestle against Duado, who he was supposed to wrestle against. He's probably not going to wrestle here again against Sung Woo Choi. And like you said, the left hook is there to be landed. Choi throws with a ton of power, is super aggressive. And Trizano is just one of those guys. He's a dog, and he's probably going to sit in there and try to trade with this guy. And I don't think it's going to end up well for him. I'm also on the Choi money line pretty big. And I like the KO prop here on Choi. Tim, what do you have?
We're gonna see if John's gonna unite us all here afterwards in a little bit.
Circle jerk is happening.
He's shaking us off. Yeah, no, I agree. KO for Choi. If you want to get like, I'll just do it a little bit different. I think that's a great play. Those are a little bit, they're like Porsche Carrera plays instead of Lambos. So I'm gonna go full Lambo and go later in the fight. KO 2-3 plus 650 on FanDuel. But yeah, I like the KOs. I just think and everything you said. I mean, Trizano frustrates the hell out of me with the non-grappling against these guys where it's just such a clear edge. This is exactly the fight. Like if he doesn't grapple in this fight, just like fire his management and like and his coaching staff and everything, just because it just doesn't make any sense if you're not trying to grapple Choi. So yeah, I'll take the KO 2-3 plus 650.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I think Choi's takedown defense is actually pretty good. So the other thing here to look at is Choi, I think, is a little bit bigger here, right? He was a taller guy. So that might come into play here too, because Trizano's used to being the bigger guy, especially here at 45. He also missed weight, didn't he? I think he missed weight.
He struggled. I don't know if you missed, but he looked like shit.
Did he make weight afterwards? I didn't watch it. Do you guys know?
No, it's 147 point something.
Yeah, he missed. So yeah, he missed, which is also a pretty bad sign. John Kelly, what do you have, buddy?
Yeah, I'm glad I got to go last on this one because nobody was going to steal this. I have the fight ends by submission at plus 700. I know it's probably a hot take. Neither of these guys, like Tim was saying, even in matches where Trizano likely should grapple, like he's not a bad grappler. He just never proactively grapples. He would probably be the better submission grappler here. Choi has been hurt on the feet multiple times, but also submitted a couple times as well. Trizano's been submitted as well. So even though I don't think either guy is a good necessarily like submission grappler, I think both of them are kind of flawed defensively. And I think we could potentially see either of them hurt on the feet. So maybe there's some room for a club and sub here. So at plus 700, I think you can do a little bit worse than that.
All right. John Kelly going with the hot take. Fight ends in submission.
And wait, one more point about this fight is I do know someone in Trizano's camp, and he said, I talked to him before the past few fights, and I remember before Duado, he said there was no plan to grapple, and then before Almeida, he said there was a plan to grapple, but I think he might have shot one takedown in that fight. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it just doesn't seem like it's going to happen at this point, you know?
Yeah, this guy just tends to, I don't know what it is, because he does have, it seems like he has a very good gas tank. I'm just not sure why he doesn't opt to grapple. You know, it's very, very weird because you're just giving fighters that want striking the fight they want. And I don't know. Maybe it's his camp. I don't know who it is, but moving on. Fight number 4. It is in the strawweight division. It's Carolina Kovalchuk versus Silvana Gomez Juarez. And I will have the honors of taking this bullshit fight because I'm not very interested in this one. This was one of the ones I wasn't very interested in, but I actually don't mind my play here for Lambo. It's Carolina by submission. It's 750 on Bet Rivers. I mean, if you're fighting, if you have any type of grappling, which Carolina showed she has some, I mean, by submission against this girl that's, very, I don't know, defensively flawed on the ground is not bad. So plus 750, it's on Bet Rivers. If you have it again, Unibet. I think that line is a little bit off here. Tim, what do you have?
That line is definitely off, especially compared to the market. Yeah, you got to like that. I mean, she's pretty much, Juarez Gomez is like a albino belt on the ground. It's not good. So yeah, but I think that she's got also like, she's really big for the division. And I think she's got a monster right hand. And I feel like the durability of Carolina early in her career is great. And she showed that she fought and she like had you'd have to kill her to get her out. And I just think that she's getting less and less durable and taking shots worse and worse. And I could either see like an actual knockout from the power that Gomez has, and I could also see just like a TKO standing where she's done, kind of like Marina Rodriguez last week, where she's done, she gets hit, she turns away, and they just stop the fight. So yeah, I like Gomez Juarez KO. I wouldn't even hate the KO one either. She usually does it early when she does finish people, but I'll just take a shot on the KO.
All right, Juarez by KO. Brent makes a good point. Like, this could definitely happen. She rocks her and then just follows her to the ground and somehow gets up, because we've seen that movie before. John Kelly, what do you have here?
Yeah, I was actually between both of your guys' Lambos, Carolina by sub and Juarez by KO. I think both of those are probably the way to look at it in this fight. I went with Carolina by submissions plus 600 on FanDuel, so not quite as good as Bet Rivers, like you said, Narco, but pretty much the same thing as you. Is like, she's not a bad grappler, and Gomez Juarez is flawed for sure on the mat. Been armbarred twice in the first round in 2 of her 3 UFC fights here. So I'll take a shot on Carolina by sub at plus 600.
All right, my man John Kelly on the submission. Martian, last but not least, what do you have here?
Narco, you broke my heart by saying you're not interested in this fight. I mean, this is what MMA is all about. These type of coin flip women's MMA fights. I'm intrigued in this fight, and after taping it more and more, I had to side with Carolina here just to talk about the matchup. I mean, she's historically like a top 5-10 fighter. She's been in title fights, and she's fighting a 37-year-old woman who just got to the UFC, who's like fresh off the Argentinian regional scene, and she's fought 2 really bad women, and she's getting a massive step up here. And I just think people, not to shit on Tim's play, but are a little overrating the KO, because Carolina hates getting hit. But couldn't you guys see her getting hit with the big punch, and then her just like kind of conceding defeat the whole fight, moving backwards and getting outstruck like Yan Shannon did to her? I mean, I don't think we're dealing with Jessica Andrade type of power from Juarez. So I like Carolina overall in this fight, money line. And I think ITD is a little safer just because, I don't know, I could see a ground and pound TKO. The referees are quick to stop women's fights. So ITD 300 just meets the qualifications. Sean Orr, no comment. But it's Poland season, Carolina.
All right, he is on the Carolina side, but ITD, yeah, I mean, it can happen both ways. I'm pretty sure. It's not
more
like
likely sub for sure.
Yeah, I think she's been.
Your guys' play is good.
Silvana has been stopped before with I forgot who it was, but it was early in her career. Moving on, fight number 5 it is in the lightweight division. This one is going to be a banger. It is Ottoman Azatar versus Matt, the Steamroller Frivola. Tim, what do you have here?
Oh, I got Frivola sub on Bet Rivers at 6-1. Just a stupid line, really. Honestly, don't get it. So I actually bet that one. I've got a couple violence bets in this fight. I think that somebody's going to die. Azatar gasses too. So if you want to get super greedy, you could also do sub 2-3. So yeah, like sub for Frivola looks really good. I think if he grapples, it's going to look really, really nice. And then if he doesn't grapple, I think he's going to get murdered in the first round.
All right. He is on the Frivola sub prop slate. John Kelly.
Yeah, I'm on Frivola as well, but I went with the by points at plus 500. I have a theory, and I'm not sure. You can check the data on this. I'm not sure. You could fact check me, but I feel like when we have the cards that everybody says sucks, we end up seeing finish. And then all the cards where we're super excited about, decision. So a lot of mine are going to be decision related props. This is one of them, Matt Frivola by decision at plus 500. Azatar, yeah, I expect him to gas after the first round, maybe hurts Frivola early, something like that. But maybe Frivola goes through his wrestling after that, but doesn't quite put him out of there. So at plus 500, we'll go Frivola by decision as my Lambo in this one.
All right. Frivola decision for Kelly. Martian, what do you have?
Yeah, I like what John was saying. I mean, I think this fight kind of seems obvious to all of us. Like, it's either going to be a KO one for Zaitar or Frivol's going to take over. Like, I bet like 90% of people are thinking that way. And maybe we're a little too foolish to think it's only going to go that one certain way. So I definitely could see it extending like that. But I like Frivola here. I like the late round props, I think, plus 700, plus 1400. I like him in this fight to just survive the early onslaught. Hopefully, he wrestles from the jump. It's going to be a hellacious round one, but I think that if we get to 2-3, the fight's going to really favor Frivola. And I could see Zaitar melting like his brother did against MAB late, and Frivola just going rabies and getting him out of there. So, Frivola, I hope he gets it done.
All right. He is also on the Matt Frivola side. I'm going to go on the opposite side, man. I'm not, this is not like some big take for me or anything. I just think Matt Frivola's fight IQ, I think, is questionable to me. Last fight was, I mean, I don't know. Like, if he doesn't stop that Gennaro guy, like, what happens to Frivola himself? Because he looked death gassed himself prior to getting the stoppage. I just don't think he is the smartest guy in that ring. Like, he went straight in against Terrence McKinney, caught a straight left, and got put to sleep in 7 seconds. I honestly could see him slugging it out on the feet here in early on, and I think it's going to be a huge mistake because, his chin is not the best. He's getting hurt. I mean, he got hurt against Valdez after getting Valdez very hurt in that first round. And I do think, Azatar hits very, very hard. I mean, when he's landing on these guys, they're absolutely going completely to sleep. And I do think he has a ton of power. I do agree with you guys that, because he throws all these big power punches early, he tends to gas. But in a lot of those fights, especially that fight that went 3 rounds, like, he kind of fought through, like, being tired and still chucking big bombs late and getting the actual he hurt the guy, and I think then he kicked him to the body and stopped him. But what I'm trying to say is I don't like Frivola's fight IQ, and I think it might come into play here very early. And Azatar by KO round 1 is plus 320. That's what I'm going to give out. I think he might get the KO 1 here against Frivola. Frivola's shown to be, knocked out before, shown to be hurt a lot of times before, and I honestly think this is going to be another case of KO1 because it happened with Polo Reyes. It happened with Terrence McKinney, and I definitely think it can happen again with Ottoman Azatar here, Mr. Bag of Potatoes, or whatever you want to call him, Potato Head. Moving on. Fight number 6. It is in the middleweight division, Andre Petroski versus Wellington Thurman. John Kelly, it's up to you here. What do you have?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are going to probably be on the Turman side here, but I like Petroski. I got Petroski round 1 knockout at plus 470. I don't really get where the striking confidence is coming from with Wellington Turman. I think his durability is a massive concern. I know Petroski is not a great striker, but he does have power, and he has that big left hand that he's going to look for repeatedly. I think while he's fresh, which is basically only the first 6 or 7 minutes or so, he is going to have a chance to hurt Turman on the feet. This is the same dude that like got knocked out by Bruno Silva in like full guard or whatever. So it's like, I don't get it. I think Petroski does have the power to hurt him on the feet. Honestly, I'm not going to bet it because 470 is not great value, but I think for the Lambo plays, that's going to be my angle here.
All right. He is on the Petroski KO1. Are you KO1 or KO in general?
KO1 plus KO1. 470.
Martian, you are a Philly guy. I know that. You already told us that. So does that mean something here?
It did before the Marquez MMA bubble is starting to burst, and they were 16-17-0. It was going really well. But then the Sabatini loss happened, and now I think that might be the bubble burster, honestly, because I don't know. I just think Petroski is not that great of a fighter. I think he lacks a lot of depth in the striking area, his gas tank. And I just think the market's reaction to him has been crazy. Like he was just plus 350 against Maximov, and now he's minus 200 here against Turman. And Turman, you could argue, is more proven than Maximov. So Turman's training with a good camp. Up with Pereira and Glover and Dom Reyes. He's got a lot of really good training partners. I mean, Petrosky does too. I mean, he's improving at a good rate too. You can see it just from a few years ago in his LFA fights to now getting a lot better. But I do lean with Turman on this fight. I'll be on his money line. And for the Lambo, I like the sub at 550. And then one of those lines Tim was talking about earlier on FanDuel, the submission combo rounds, sub 2-3 at plus 1100. I can see Petrosky slowing down here, and actually that bet would have won in his last fight too because he subbed Serkunov in the second round.
All right, so he's going with the late round props on Turman. Yeah, I think the thing with Petrosky is I want to see 3 rounds where he doesn't gas because he's gassed. In I know he finished that Hugh guy, but he was purely gassed in that fight. He was tired against Gilmore. He was dead tired in the second round against Brian Battle, dead tired against Aaron Jeffrey. And I think it might happen again, honestly. And Turman, like, yeah, he's not a big finisher, like late finisher or whatever. But I mean, he showed like he was gonna go for the finish against Sam Alvey in that third, had Sam Alvey on the ropes late in that fight. And I honestly think he can finish here in round number 3. I'm just going to go straight up with the round 3 prop on Wellington Thurman. It's plus 1,600. I have a money line bet on him as well. Petrosky's got to show me more than just like these early stoppages. I know he's good. I know he's strong, but I'm still questioning his cardio in a big, big way here. So give me Thurman, round 3, plus 1,600. Tim, what do you have?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I'm not saying that the cardio and the gas on Petrosky is good, but he's functional. Like he doesn't seem to like completely die in every situation in round 2, round 3. Like he's got half of his finishes are in round 2, round 3. Every fight that he fights finishes. So I'm not saying that we can't say that he's a killer because he is. He also gets killed, but like I just feel that the wrestling and the strength advantage for him is just so huge here that even in rounds 2 and rounds 3, if he's not, if he's not really able to have all of his gas, he could still get him down on the ground, and like he could still hold him enough where Turman will play on his back. And so I was kind of going back and forth of whether or not I think he'll finish him, and I'm leaning more actually that this is the first fight. It's kind of like a hot take, but like the first fight that Petrosky wins a decision. And I think it could be like he almost gets him and he wins the first 2 rounds and then he just survives round 3 or maybe gets a takedown and holds him in round 3 as well. But just does, and Turman just is defensively sound with jiu-jitsu and doesn't let him sub him, and he doesn't have enough ground and pound to kind of finish him. So I'll take a kind of be on an island this week on Petrosky by points at plus 380.
Wow, we got some island guys here. Yeah, that's definitely island. I haven't heard that take, but I could see it. I mean, Petrosky does seem to push through on some of those round 3 finishes, but very, very low level of opposition. So we'll see. This is a little bit of a step up, in my opinion. Fight number 7. It is in the flyweight division. It is Aaron Blanchfield versus Molly McCann. And I know Martian wants to kick this one off. Go ahead, Martian. This is all yours right here.
I've been dwindling my confidence in Blanchfield's stock for her career, but this is a very good matchup for her. Her subline you can get at plus 420 on FanDuel. I think that's definitely her most valuable line. See, we have here as a minus 400 women's MMA grappler. So there's an 80% chance she's going to win, and she's going to likely win via grappling. And then the sub is less than 20%. I don't think that's right, especially with just how bad McCann is off her back. I mean, I had some faith in McCann maybe being a tough matchup, or maybe worth a bet at 3-1, because you can never think about betting the women's fighter at -400. You just have to go dog or pass in that situation. But then I rewatched some of her fights. I mean, Laura Procopio absolutely wiped the floor with her on the mat. So the game plan is there. Blanchfield's going to hit some judo throws. She's going to likely be in side control. I could see her passing and just being in dominant positions here. So +420, that's good for her. And if you're on the Molly side, you got to be on the KO +1200. I mean, those are the only two lines here that I think. I'm sorry if I did too. I don't know about that. Sorry, I'll just shut up.
That's fine. Tim always gives 2 or 3. It's
yeah,
not
you're
a big
good.
deal.
No worries.
Okay, cool.
All right. So Martian is mainly on the Blanchfield submission side, and I'm right there with you. +420 doesn't make sense to me at all. Like at all. Like I think this fight's gonna get to the ground. Molly McCann has survived, Procopio and Talia Santos, who, fine. Santos is very strong, good on top. But multiple times she was in bad positions, very, very bad positions. She got subbed by Jillian Robertson, who's probably not as strong, not as good as on top as Blanchfield is. So why is this -400, like you said, favorite, +420 by submission? Yeah, I mean, I took some of that. I have to. McCann is very tough. I know that. She survives a lot. I do think she's probably improved a little bit, but look at the level of competition, guys. Like Luana Carolina, Hannah Goldie, Jaehyun Kim. They've been honestly handing her wins, like giving her people that she can win. But like this just isn't it against Blanchfield. So submission prop +420, not long-winded. I just think it happens a lot more than, like you said, 20%. Tim, what do you like here?
Just rewind what both of you said. Sub Aaron, it's no brainer. I have a unit and a half on that bet alone. I just think that it's pretty big for a prop, but I'm pretty confident in it, minus the 30-26 type point, decision win. That's the other side of it. She gets like a 10-8, and then we're all screaming how she was so close. But yeah, there's nothing really to add. I think the biggest point that you made that I was nodding my head to was the Robertson sub. Like, just there's no way anybody in their right mind can tell me that the grappling and wrestling of Blanchfield is not levels beyond Robertson. So yeah, Jillian getting the fight to the ground is that's the question always with her. I disagree, Sean.
I got someone for you who disagrees. I mean, grappling, if you're saying submission grappling, I agree with you, Sean. But guy, wrestling and stuff, there's no way. I mean, it's not even close.
I don't even know if I agree. I don't know if I agree with jiu-jitsu wise either. Like, I think that obviously Robertson's dangerous, but I just think that there's the transitions are different. The strength is different. I think in women's MMA too, you don't have to be like the black belt doesn't necessarily sub the person as much as a person that's way stronger. Like you could just be out physical them and put them.
All right, now it makes more sense. It's just that he's been haunted by this +1600 he didn't get. So
yeah.
To defend Sean, I kind of see what he's saying. I think what I'm worried about for our bet is that the Blanchfield does, I think, struggle blending the takedowns together. Like her game is it doesn't have good flow to it. It's choppy. She has a lot of work to do striking and footwork wise. So I think, Robertson, like she might do better at getting the fight actually to the floor with consistency. So I see what he's saying.
I don't know. I think Robertson is
low key. He's got like the most finishes in women's UFC.
No, I know, but she gets them down there in very, very weird ways.
Sloppy ways.
It's not wrestling. It's definitely not wrestling.
Right. It's finesse.
John Kelly knows that I've never forgiven Robertson for not subbing. What's her name?
Ashley Yoder, wasn't it?
Yoder.
Yeah, it was like plus. What was it? It was a big number.
The most ridiculous number.
Yeah, it was a big number, man.
You guys are both haunted by opposite people, Tim and Sean. No wonder you guys are going head on. John Kelly, what do you have here?
Yeah, so I was playing the game theory approach. I'm like, okay, Blanchfield by sub plus 420. I know everyone's gonna pick that. So I'm gonna ride with my girl Molly, and then of course Martian just had to throw out, oh, just bet Molly by KO if you're on Molly. So he just takes my steam away. But no, all honestly though, I think the clear value is the Blanchfield sub. I'm probably actually gonna make that a real bet for me. But for the purposes of the show, I'm going to go with my girl, Meatball Molly. I mean, there's no more exciting fighter on the female roster than Molly McCann. So I'm rooting for Molly. And if she does lose, then hopefully it comes by Blanchfield sub. And all of us, along with the chat, can cash a couple tickets.
I love it. The Barstool narrative is in effect, by the way. Dave Portnoy is going to pull some strings, and Molly's going to
Martian, I think you're being abducted by your ancestors.
Your mic is whoa. Oh, that was pretty bad. I don't know what happened, but it's your mic was really, really scratchy. So I'm not sure. Try it again. Or if you want,
testing.
No, it's still pretty bad.
Okay, I'll leave.
It's All right, we will move on.
Must have been the mothership trying to contact him.
Yeah, I mean, Martian is definitely a Martian.
ET phone home.
Yeah.
Phone home.
Fight number 8 in the light heavyweight division. Another banger. It's Dominic Reyes versus Ryan Superman Spann. Do you guys know if Spann actually made weight? I'm not sure. He was off by 0.6.
I'm pretty sure he missed, but the fight goes on. I think I saw a tweet that said that.
Okay, so he was off by 0.6 and didn't even cut the 0.6, huh? He just like, fuck it, I'll take 20% less. That's crazy. But anyways, in this fight, another play where it doesn't hit that threshold of plus 300, but it's plus 265 on Bet Rivers. It's Reyes KO1. I mean, Ryan Spann is like, he dies early or kills you early. He's just one of those guys. Most of the time he's dying early. There's a lot of, KO1s in his losses. There's some sub ones, but I think it's KO1 here against Reyes. For Reyes here, the guy's been out of the ring for a little while, but when you look at this guy's career, like he's losing only to the top guys. I mean, talking about Yuri, Jan, John Jones, I mean, top guys in the division, you're losing to those guys. Okay. Now it's a huge, huge step down against Ryan Spann. Guy has better durability. Guy has better cardio. Guy has just a better overall MMA game. And Dominic Reyes, if he's not washed, should definitely cruise here in this fight against Ryan Spann. So give me Reyes by KO1 plus 265. I love one of my favorite spots on this card is the fight doesn't start round 3 here. The under 1.5 here. I think there's a lot of violence in this fight in general. Tim, what do you have here?
Yeah, I like the under 1.5 here too a lot. Same bet. I like Reyes KO1. If you want to hedge it, you can do Reyes KO2 as plus 650 just to cover it. But yeah, I don't think this round, it doesn't see round 3. Anthony Smith was piecing the shit out of Ryan Spann. And that's like huge data. Also, Sam Alvey looked kind of somewhat good. So that's all you got to say about the striking. And like, I'm sure he's powerful and he's big, but he's just slow as hell. So yeah, I think that's enough for me to see on Reyes. I think Reyes also, like the fight against Yuri, like he was doing better than I remembered in that fight when I rewatched it. And I thought that, I just think that he's got enough there to finish him early in this fight.
He hurt Yuri, I think more
than he knocked him out. I mean, I'm pretty sure he knocked him out, honestly.
Yeah, he hurt him pretty bad. Yeah. Yuri's just crazy recoverability, but I don't think Ryan Spann has that. The one thing I am a little bit afraid of, and I'm going to say before I kick it off to John, sorry, he's been out for like 1.5 years. He got KO'd pretty bad. He's been KO'd in his last 2.
I think it's good though. Don't you?
Well, no, because I think it might make him hesitant a little early not to get knocked out. So
maybe for the bet, but I'm just saying for like
for the bet. Yeah, I'm talking about the bet.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. John Kelly, what do you have?
Yeah, I had Ryan Spann by sub 850, but it moved to 750 now. But I think Spann by submission, I think that's probably capturing a good portion of his win equity. You know, he's like you guys said, yes, he does have some power on the feet, but he's also like a pretty dangerous submission grappler, at least at 205, because a lot of them don't know how to grapple or defend submissions. He's obviously going to probably get finished here. He's been finished 5 of his 7 professional losses. So I think more than likely, Narco, your angle is right. I just think the value probably on the Spann side, Spann by submission.
Spann by submission. What I will say is I think he has like maybe 8 or 9 of his 20 wins are by guillotine. He's got a really nasty front choke guillotine. Like he gets a lot of people with that shit.
I mean, didn't he burn us all with that in that Kudalaba fight? Wasn't it a guillotine in that one?
Yeah, it was I think he hurt him first, right? And Kutalaba shot, and then he got that high elbow guillotine. Yeah. Martian, what do you got here?
Is the microphone back to normal?
Yeah, you're sounding like,
okay.
You know what? You got back from the aliens. They let you go. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm really interested to go back and listen to what that sounded like. Everyone's reaction was pretty crazy. But I like Spann round 1 in this fight. I bet it when it was at 700. I just think that's like the vast majority of his, win equity here. If it gets out of round 1, it's probably going to be all Reyes. Those Reyes round 2, round 3 props, Tim talked about them. Round 2, 553, 1300 for round 3. That would really be the best scenario is round 3, 1300. I mean, it should just be all Reyes at that point. I mean, in the one time we've seen Spann in round 3 in the UFC was versus Sam Alvey, and I'm pretty sure he lost that round. So it's going to be going bad for the fight late for Spann here, but I think he's got a chance to just, leverage his athleticism and make a finish happen in round 1, catch Reyes when he's cold. Reyes is taking a lot of damage, man, knocked out cold twice in a row. And, good thing he took the time off, but I like that one for Spann.
I agree with you. Like it's bad when you get knocked out back-to-back fights, and you take this time off. There's a reason why you took this time off, which might be good for him. It's the first time he's ever been KO'd, and it happens in back-to-back fights. Yeah, I mean, durability is definitely a concern here.
I agree too with Martian's take that the round 2, round 3 are live as well for Reyes because of like what we're saying. Like you're saying, like he's coming back, he might be a little bit more cautious. He also knows that that Spann is so front loaded that he's probably going to just say like, okay, if I can stay at range and I can be a little bit smarter in the first round, I can start to gas him a little bit, and then I can definitely put them a foot on the gas in round 2, round 3. So I actually like that a lot.
The only thing that I see is sometimes not sometimes, it's just how Reyes fights. Like when he gets hit, he just wants to go rabies and hit you back.
No, I totally agree. I think that's like the question is, does he go in a little bit more because of his last 2 losses and because of Spann's offense usually, right?
Yeah, for sure. I could see that. Yeah, for sure. Moving on. It is fight number 9. It is in the lightweight division. It's Renato Moicano versus Brad Riddell. Tim, what do you have here?
All right. I have been going so back and forth on this fight. I do not have a strong take. I'll be honest with this one. I have strong takes about 3 different things that I think could happen. I think Moicano could sub him. I think he's more early success, like round 1, round 2. I think he starts off really well in fights, and I think Riddell is kind of shit in round 1. So I think if he could catch him with a sub, I think it would be like round 1, maybe round 2. But I think if he doesn't get him in those situations early, I feel that Riddell takes over as the fight goes on a little bit later, and maybe as he starts to get in a range and get into the pocket a little bit more. I think the striking at range is way closer than people are saying all week. I think a lot of people are just saying that that Riddell is going to be like just for sure winning on the feet. And I think Moicano's striking is good, especially at range. I think Riddell is going to do better when he gets in the pocket and kind of attacks. So I could see, the sub 1 for Moicano, but I can also see the KO 2-3 for Riddell. I'm going to go with KO 2-3 with Riddell. And and it's plus 650 on FanDuel. But yeah, I just keep going back and forth and seeing like two different fights, but I'll take the Riddell side. Not uber confident.
All right, Riddell 2-3 KO. John Kelly.
Yeah, pretty much same boat as Tim, like usual, buddy. I could definitely see Riddell knocking him out. I think that's what I picked. Yeah, Riddell by KO at plus 300. So it just barely met the limit. You know, unlike you, Narco, I'm not going to skim the rules and throw in these plus 275s. I'm sticking to the plus 300s. But yeah, I definitely see the point. Like somebody in the chat said, one panic shot from Riddell and it could be over. Like I totally get that. But I also think like Moicano is a guy who I know most of his durability issues came at a lower weight class, but still the dude's taken a ton of damage over the course of his career, not to mention the last fight against Rafael Dos Anjos where he just beat him to an absolute pulp. So I could see Riddell, who desperately needs to get a win here, who's also been in some wars and been hurt multiple times. This is a high variance fight. I'm going to ride with the guy who I think is a probably better striker. Maybe he catches him with something big and puts him out. So Riddell by KO plus 300.
All right, Riddell by KO plus 300. If you do have, what is that? Bet Rivers again, plus 340. They just always seem to be off market on these props. So if you can get that book, honestly, I would highly recommend Bet Rivers Unibet. They have the same prices. I think those books are always off on props. Martian, what do you have?
Do they actually have those lines though? Like, do we know
Yes,
they do?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm looking at Unibet and they have the line.
All right. Yeah, I mean, this fight, you guys covered a lot on this fight. I mean, it's a fairly a binary fight, I believe. And I struggle to see any angle. I like what Tim was saying about that KO 2-3 for Riddell. That's not bad. But I think the low confidence play I have here would be Moicano KO at plus 950. I mean, Riddell, his chin, man, it's fairly questionable to argue that it's might be just completely gone. I mean, I know he's gotten caught by some big punchers, but I mean, he got dropped by Dober. He got knocked out versus Fiziev in a really strange fashion. And then his first fight back, he gets stunned 30 seconds in by Turner. So his chin might be gone, you know, and Moicano historically not a big puncher, but for 950, I think it's a decent bang for your buck at that price. But this is a great fight.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm honestly, I kind of agree with what John Kelly said. It's very, very concerning. Like, honestly, the beatdown that he took from Rafael Dos Anjos is worse than a knockout. I mean, that fucking beatdown was bad, man. And it just, at times in that fight, and I had late round props on Dos Anjos, so I was upset. But the thing is, it just felt like Dos Anjos was like, didn't want to like, I don't know. It was weird. It just felt like he didn't want to kill him at points. Like he was just
after round 4. Go. Yeah. After round 4, he's like, he took mercy on him. Yeah.
He 100% did.
We all bet those round 3. It was like in round 3, he was close to finishing. We're like, oh, okay, let it go to round 4. We'll still win. It'll be plus 2,000 at that point. And we're like, wait a minute, is this fight not going to finish? And then, oh man, that one was one of the most painful fights to ever watch.
It's on. I felt those damn doctor. How did the doctor, after looking at that guy, beating him to a pulp, he had no chance to win, and letting him go out there for 4 and 5? It was disgusting. But either way, I durability for both guys is a little bit of a concern. I played this Moicano sub prop that was sitting there on Bet Online for a long time at plus 450. I don't understand that line at all. Like if Moicano gets this fight to the ground, Riddell is in big trouble, man. Like this is definitely the best guy he's faced on that ground. He's super, super dangerous down there. If he gets a back take, he's long. He's got those long limbs. Riddell is screwed, man. He just got subbed in his last fight where he was hurt and then got subbed by Jalen Turner. It might not happen in the first round, but I'm going to go with sub 2 for Mr. Renato Moicano at plus 1,000. If you look at his career, he's got a lot of submissions in round 2. More than half of them, I think, a good amount of them are in round 2. That's how I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with the sub prop round 2 on Renato Moicano plus 1,000. And we will move on to fight number 10, I believe we're at here. It is in the featherweight division, or sorry, no, this is in the lightweight division. What am I saying? It's Dan Hooker versus Claudio Puelles. And who is next here? Is it Tim or is it? No, it's Tim. Go ahead, Tim.
All right, I have my biggest money line bet of the year on Dan Hooker here. So it's Hooker or homeless. I just want to I might need to let everybody know that I might be calling you guys if things don't go well this fight. So I got in on the sub line on Hooker on Bet Rivers at 16-1. It's still there. He's really got an insanely good front choke series and can get Gilly a lot. Like the Burns fight, he got Burns in trouble. And I feel like that is a very, very possible option. Everybody's on like they think that the sub is more likely from Puelles. And I just think that it's actually more likely to come from Hooker here. And I feel like the takedowns from Puelles are so bad. It's like almost like his Wi-Fi is not broken or his Bluetooth's off, and he like stops halfway through. So he might give him an opportunity to really take his neck, and we'll see. Hopefully, Hooker takes it.
All right. Tim might go homeless if Hooker does. After last week, Tim, how could you go homeless?
I know I won't. I'm just teasing.
All right. So he's on the Hooker side on the submission prop. John Kelly, what do you got here?
I got Hooker by sub as well at plus 1,200. I think his grappling's underrated. I know Puelles has never been submitted before, but the dude's notorious for slowing down and gassing out. I know he's had a couple nice submission victories, but it's like one dude has fought Chris Grutzmacher, Jordan Levitt. The other dude has fought like everybody in the top 10 of this division. I think it's Dan Hooker all day, and hopefully it comes by submission at plus 1,200.
Wow, these guys are just spitting fire here with the Dan Hooker submission. By the way, Tim, you said that and somebody hit it, and it's down to 1,300 now on Bet Rivers Unibet. So just FYI. Martian, what do you have?
This chat, first of all, we gotta say they're legendary. They are roasting me to my core right now. I'm enjoying it though. But I'm also on Hooker money line here. John Kelly, what's the community record on Circle Jerk bets, by the way?
Community record is 2-73. So we got two wins, 73 losses.
Right. So we're against the odds here with Hooker, but you gotta be big on Hooker here with the money line. But for the Lambo, different than what we're betting straight up. Oh, wow. Minna just said I'm not that pale. That's so nice. Thank you. Shout out to Minna. Anyway, Puelles decision at DraftKings plus 700. I actually think he's possibly more likely to win by decision than to sub him. I think most people think it's just going to be, another knee bar. I mean, I think that's quite obvious that that's what's coming, and I think it's possible that Hooker getting stuck on bottom for 2 out of 3 rounds is the most likely way he might lose. So 700. But honestly, come on, guys, save your money and put it all on Dan Hooker money line. Let's ride into this one together.
All right, another Dan Hooker guy, but he's going to give you the Puelles decision prop here. For me, I'm all over Dan Hooker as well, which is, again, you call it the community circle jerk. I call it the mush of the week. You can call it whatever you want. But this guy this week honestly feels like the mush of the week. I'm scared. I mean, one of these mushes of the week has to come through. They haven't been coming through lately. This might be the one. Hopefully this is the one. But for me, for my Lambo play, I'm going to go with Hooker round 3. It's plus 1,200. I think he has the better cardio here. Puelles, man, just looking at him on tape, my God, man, he doesn't look good in any of these fights. He's getting these fucking knee bars. He's just not looking great. Even though he's winning, he's not really looking good in these wins. He got knocked out against Martin Bravo, 6 years ago, whenever it was. The one thing I will say is this guy could be improving. I mean, he came from, Peru, where he's training at God knows where. Now he's at, Sanford over there, or Killcliff, whatever you want to call it. And he's still only 26. So improvement could be there. I just think this is a monumental step up for him against Dan Hooker. Look at who he's been fighting. They've been literally giving him W's of late. And now he's facing a big, big, big step up. Dan Hooker, for me, I'm all over him. I'm over his decision prop as well. I think this most likely goes to decision, but I love the round 3 prop as well. I think Dan Hooker is going to be there round 3. He's going to be throwing hard, and it's plus 1,200. I have to play that. What's up, Tim?
Yeah, I mean, if you were saying that the Hooker, I just don't think that Hooker is like gonna go into guard. Do you think he's gonna go into his guard if he like knocks him down or something like that? John,
Let's hope not. You might as well let him stand
right?
up. You know,
Like I don't know. It's just there's so many places where I just think like I know it's the mush of the week. I get it. Like we're all on the same fighter, and the line is going the wrong way, and we're all betting a good amount of money. So it's fucking crazy. But it's just one of those fights where unless somebody's like, I don't know, unless he's just injured or something, I just don't get the line. I just don't understand it. You know what I'm saying? And so I'll take the losses. This is one of those bets where I think it's important to keep on, saying this, that process over results is just like, this is such a process bet that I don't care. It's going to be one of the bigger bets if I lose. Like I'll make this type of bet all day long, every day.
yeah. If the Puelas who just fought Gritzmacher in the last 15-minute fight shows up, I think we're golden, boys. I think we're like, I hope so, because I'm pretty confident Dan Hooker beats that guy.
Yeah, I mean, unless Hooker fell off a cliff.
Plus we won 50-1 on Playas, so it's not like we have no love for Playas, right, Mike?
Yeah. Oh, that knee bar. Yeah, I forgot.
They took those props right off of BetMGM.
That guy has been fired a long time ago.
I think it was a text I sent you, and then fucking he hits the knee bar. That's fucking crazy. But yeah, let's move on here. Fight number 11. It is in the bantamweight division. It is Frankie Edgar in his last MMA fight ever, so he says, versus Chris Gutierrez. John Kelly, kick this one off, brother.
Yeah, I like Frankie Edgar by points on FanDuel at plus 320. I think if you're betting Frankie Edgar, I think that's the way that he wins. I'd be surprised if he was able to finish Gutierrez here. But I do actually think this is a winnable fight for him. And I think the odds aren't really reflecting that. Obviously 41 years old, durability, major question. But outside of the durability concerns, like skill for skill and the way he matches up against Gutierrez, I actually do think it's a favorable matchup for him. Gutierrez obviously going to have a huge striking advantage, but I think if Edgar can go to the wrestling, which he has been known to do in just about every single one of his fights, even that last fight when he got brutally knocked out by Chito Vera, he looked good early in that fight. He won round 1. Some people thought he won round 2. I thought it was 1-1 going into the third before he got killed. But regardless, he was in dominant position for 3, 4, 5 minutes in the first 2 rounds there. I think he can do that against Gutierrez, a guy that's been taken down multiple times by Cody Durden, been taken down by Felipe Colares as well. These guys do not have that good of wrestling, not like a Frankie Edgar level wrestling. So I think Edgar's probably going to at least win minutes here. And if the only thing I'm fading is a knockout by a guy who's not necessarily known for punching power anyway, I'm going to go with Frankie Edgar. So Frankie Edgar by decision plus 320. That's my Lambo.
All right. Frankie Edgar by decision, 320. I wrote down, I have the same one. There's 350 somewhere. Where the hell is 350? I wrote down 350 just in case. I mean, if you can get it, why not? I always like to give it to the viewers. It's on DraftKings. You can get plus 350 on DraftKings if you have it. Martian, what do you got here?
Yeah, I have a more detailed, analysis in the fight. You can listen to on my own podcast, Martian and Nazi on YouTube and everything. But the synopsis is that I think that Edgar might be a little too old and slow to be able to get in on Gutierrez's hips here. So I don't think he will be winning the fight. But the only bet I really see value on is the one John Kelly mentioned, Edgar by decision. I mean, I guess the other way you could maybe see it is the late KO props for Gutierrez, but I don't have much faith in those either. This is a very low confidence fight for me. I just hope Frankie doesn't get hurt too bad out there, guys, because, I mean, these past few fights for long-time MMA fans have been tough to watch. So nothing of confidence here for me.
All right. He's also on the Frankie Edgar decision. Honestly, I'm on the same side. I think Frankie Edgar, looking at this guy's losses, I looked through his career, it's insane the guys he's lost to. Just go back and look at it. They're literally top 5 guys, all up and down. Like all his losses: Marlon Vera, Corey Sanhagen, Korean Zombie, Max Holloway, Brian Ortega, Jose Aldo twice, Benson Henderson twice in his prime. Like this guy's lost only to the best guys out there. Yes, he's older now. I mean, much, much older. But I mean, can he not take Chris Gutierrez down if he took Marlon Vera down? How many times? Like, I don't think Chris Gutierrez has the best takedown defense. I know, again, like you guys mentioned, yeah, Frankie Edgar's older, but I mean, a year ago he was taking down Marlon Vera pretty consistently, pretty easily. I don't know how many takedowns he had, but he had 3 takedowns. So he had a decent amount of takedowns. I don't think Chris Gutierrez has something special on the, with his takedown defense. I think he can land them. The only thing I'm really, really concerned from here is Gutierrez's kicking game. Like, he has some nasty kicks. I'm afraid of that high kick to the head against Frankie Edgar. That's where I'm really scared. But I think this is a fight that Frankie honestly can win. I think they've given him this guy in Madison Square Garden, his last fight. I honestly think it's a very, very winnable fight for him here. I like Frankie Edgar here. I think I'm probably going to end up playing Frankie Edgar, to be honest, at the money line. Most likely decision. It's going to happen probably by decision. But, yeah, give me Frankie Edgar by specifically split decision plus 1,200. That's where I'm going with this, because I think, guys, if this is anywhere remotely close, there's going to be some people screaming robbery on the Gutierrez side. So give me the split decision prop here, plus 1,200 on Frankie Edgar. Tim, what do you got?
Yeah, fight ends in split is plus 550, and that is just dumb. That's a dumb line. This fight should go. Both of their lines to win by decision are the shortest lines by a long shot. It makes no sense. Usually in that situation, the plus it should be like around plus 390, plus 400, something like that. So yeah, I like plus ends and split. And like you said, if you want to take a shot on either side, Edgar's 12-1, Chris is 8-1. I don't think there's that much value on taking the 8-1 when you got plus 550 on either. So the bet probably would be plus 550 on ends and split, and then to take a shot on Edgar and hope he gets it based on the crowd, like you said, and based on the wrestling. So I love those.
Yeah, and based on them wanting to give him 1W in New York for his last fight. So moving on. Fight number 12. This is going to be a banger. It is in the lightweight division. Dustin Poirier versus Michael Chandler. Martian, kick this one off.
This is an amazing fight. But I do think that the lines are off for one fighter in particular, and that's Michael Chandler. I think pretty much most of the lines for Chandler are off here. His money line, his KO, his decision, even the decision-only market on DraftKings, I think they're all good for Chandler. I mean, I just feel like this line is factoring in that Chandler is not wrestling at all. That's kind of what the line indicates to me. Because if Chandler has any intention on wrestling or hitting takedowns, I mean, he has favorite upside here. So I just think that the Poirier line is getting way too crazy, and Chandler is good everywhere here. Most specifically, though, the bet that I'm on, already bet it, is Chandler by decision plus 750. I'll be on his money line as well, but I just think this one, a few takedowns, we could see him ride out the round on top, and he could get this decision here with just a few takedowns. And yeah, I feel like this fight might underperform some people's expectations, but that could be good for us betting this fight for decision and Chandler winning it. So, yeah, that's my take on this one.
All right. Chandler by decision. I am also on the Chandler side here. KO plus 450. Dude, this guy could put anybody out. I'm telling you, like, yeah, Gagey was an absolute war, and Charles Oliveira was hurt bad. I mean, this guy has one punch stopping power, and I do think that Dustin Poirier is pretty durable. He got rocked against Oliveira pretty bad in that fight, multiple times. I think this weight cut to 155 is getting worse and worse as he gets older. I just think that line has a lot of value, man. Even like the KO 1 prop for Chandler has value, because Chandler hits very, very fucking hard. And if they're swinging, and Poirier sometimes likes to just sit there and trade. Knockout is very, very live for Michael Chandler. So that's what I'm going to go with. Chandler KO plus 450. I believe you can get that on DraftKings as well, as it's kind of an off-a-market price. Tim, what do you like?
I'm taking a long shot here. I am basing this on like what Martian was saying, that just the percentages of Chandler grappling and wrestling in this fight, I think could be off for multiple reasons. I think he could see this as like a setup to get to the championship one more time, and if he wins, so this could be like just absolutely, I'll do whatever it takes to win, and I've done these entertaining fights the last couple times. So I think that's like really, really there. I think there's a very, I know it's narrative based, but I really do feel that that's like legit. That's number one. And then number two, the kind of fights that Poirier gets broken in are ones where he has to grapple. Like he's got to fight, and like Khabib or Oliveira, these guys broke him over 3 rounds, and they grappled and they tested him. And I think that if Chandler, like I keep thinking like Chandler and Frankie Edgar, if they're sitting back in their singlets, like watching the South Park episode where it's not wrestling, this is wrestling, you know, if they like pull out the old singlets and get their wrestling shoes on and they start to talk to each other, we're going to wrestle fuck on these guys. I'm going to go with submission for Chandler, and submission round 2-3. So it's like 11-1 or 12-1 for submission. I think it's 11-1, and then plus 2,300 for sub 2-3. That I think that if he does grapple, that a submission is live. Like I more live than those lines. So I do think that it's possible he gets KO'd, obviously, and that Poirier maybe, I think it would be later if Poirier does knock him out, like a 2-3. But yeah, I'm going to take a shot on the sub for Chandler and sub 2-3.
All right, sub 2-3 Chandler. John Kelly, what do you got here?
Yeah, I'm loving all the Michael Chandler love. We might have to add this one, Martian, to the community bets record this week. But I like Michael.
How wrong could we be? You know.
I mean, that's what I'm saying, right? Like I like the Michael Chandler side. I agree with a lot of what you guys said. I think he's knocking Dustin out in round 1. I know we haven't seen Dustin knocked out in quite some time, but we have seen him hurt on this run that he's been on. And if you look at like the Conor fight, for example, Conor's round 1 knockout prop was like plus 5-1, and now plus 850 for Michael Chandler. Not that Michael Chandler's as good of a striker, but he's certainly very explosive early in the fights. You know, this is a guy that's gonna come out there and look to take your head off early. I think he could connect big against Dustin Poirier, hurt him, and get him out of there. So Michael Chandler's knocking out Poirier round 1 plus 850.
All right, Chandler round 1 plus 850. I like that. Someone absolutely nuked this line just recently on Bet Online for Dustin Poirier. They hit Poirier pretty hard because he was only minus 170 something. I was looking at it, and then now I'm looking at it, and he's minus 235 on Bet Online. So someone nuked this line. Someone has a lot of faith in Dustin Poirier here. Moving on to the co-main event. Strawweight division. It's for the strawweight 115-pound title. It's Carla Esparza versus Weili Zhang, and I can kick this one off. Not anything special here, to be honest. I don't really have a big take. I didn't really like much as far as Lambo's was concerned, so I just went kind of with late round props for Weili Zhang. Esparza looked pretty awful late in that last fight, and there was really not much going on. I think Weili probably looks better in the 4th and 5th round. She has more of the finishing ability here. So Weili round 4 is 1,400. Weili round 5 is 2,200. That's where I'm going to go. I don't really like the price, to be honest. Those round 4, round 5 prices are somewhat shitty, but maybe they're shitty for a reason. I don't know. Tim, what do you like?
I'm with you. Mine are kind of like, I'm going late round props, but I'll take a shot on the Esparza late rounds. I just think that the Weili, my prediction would be Weili kills her in the first 2 rounds, or right, maybe even 3 rounds. I think that's pretty much. I think that minus Carla getting a lot of success grappling early. If she doesn't have a ton of success early grappling, I think she's just fucked. So I'll pretty much take a shot on a late, like, because the numbers aren't good enough for Zhang KO 1 and 2. So I'll take a shot on I think it was round 4, round 5 submission for, because Carla is 8,000, 80 to 1 and 90 to 1. So like, I think like if she lasts through the first 3 rounds and gets some takedowns in round 4, round 5, maybe she can get something done. But yeah, no great confidence. I think that she does lose, and I think she gets killed.
All right. He is also on the Wayne
No.
side. What?
I'm on Cookie Monster. So.
Oh, I'm sorry. On the Cookie side. Sorry. I'm very sorry. Yeah. It's on the Carla Esparza side. And John Kelly, what do you got here?
Yeah, I like Zhang Weili. I think she's gonna kill Carla early, like Tim was saying. I think knockout in round 1. The value's certainly not there, but plus 500 it qualifies for a Lambo play. I think Carla at some point is gonna have to engage with Weili here, which did not really happen in the Rose fight. I think it's gonna happen in this fight, and Weili is just way too powerful in the pocket. She's gonna clip her, probably put her out of there. So unfortunately, I think the amazing run that Carla has been on ends on Saturday.
All right. He is on Wayne Zhang round 1. Martian, what do you got here?
Few thoughts here. So I see Minabe in the chat supporting Zhang. Did she forget that she knocked out her girl Andrade? Like, I can't forget about that. Like, come on. We should not be standing this hard for Weili. But I think the value's got to be on the dog here, Carla. I mean, historically, she's always the underdog. The past like 10 fights, she's probably been the dog like 7 or 8 times. And, that means that the market's not really reading her too well. They don't have a good read on her. So if you apply that same logic here, her being a 3-1 dog and with a real path to victory to win, I know it could seem tough early when Weili is fresh. But based on the late rounds in the Rose fight versus Weili, Rose only needed 1 takedown. 1 was a reversal, and then 1 was her own takedown. She landed 1 takedown and got 7 to 8 minutes of control in those late rounds. That's huge. So I just think that for a plus 300 dog that has a very, very real path to victory here via wrestling, I think that she's got to be the side. So almost a Lambo play on the money line. I think you can get her close to 300 plus 285. Might be the best you can get her, and then you just got to go with her decision line too, right? At 500, that qualifies, and that's definitely her most likely way to win. Obviously, the physicality for Zhang is huge here. She could finish her at any moment, but in an extended fight, I like Carla's chances.
The split's 14 to 1 on Carla, which is good too.
By the way, you can get 310 again on Unibet or Bet Rivers if you want Carla. So they're always coming.
I would change. I'm going to change mine. I'm going to go Corolla. I'm going to go a Corolla. I'm sorry. Because I said my prediction is that I think Weili kills her. And like, I got to go with my prediction. I'll go KO 1-2, but it's a Porsche. It's like a Porsche Boxster. It's like
all right.
plus 270.
Fair enough. Plus 270.
He audibled hard there.
He audibled very hard.
He went from a 90 to 1 to a plus 270.
After listening to you guys, he's like, let me go down.
No. I do think the split is more live. I do think the split decision is very live for Esparza though. Like if you're saying 14 to 1 or points, but yeah.
All right. That does it for the co-main event. And before I go on to the main event, I want to thank every one of you, 76 of you here live with us. Thank you very, very much. We really appreciate it. And I also want to thank my 2 awesome guests on an awesome show. Thank you very, very much. And with that being said, we will move on to the main event. It is in the middleweight division. It is for the 185-pound title. It is Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira. Timothy, kick it off.
All right, yeah. So I think that the record for Izzy against Pereira should be 2-0. I'll say that first and foremost. I thought the first fight was he won, and I think that he knocked him. I think he knocks him out. I think the second one is an actual knockout, and that he doesn't just stand there and like watch him get up. And the rules are different in kickboxing. So I think in MMA, it's a completely different deal. And I don't think, I mean, is it possible that Izzy kind of stays at range and plays very cautiously like he has in some of his last fights? Definitely, because, I mean, it's just what he does. He's so good defensively. But I don't know if, and I don't think that Pereira will give him that fight, not for 5 rounds. So I think KO Izzy, another Porsche Boxster, plus 270. And then KO, I think it would be, I don't know. I don't really know on the rounds. I'll just take the KO plus 270. My guess would be KO like 1 through 3 plus 550, but I don't really have any super confidence because I think he could stay at range and then get him later too. And he has way more of an advantage later on as the fight goes. I just kind of think that like the fights before, he's hurt him a lot of times early. So just KO Izzy plus 270. I don't think that's bad.
All right. KO Izzy plus 270. The Toyota Corolla play. John Kelly, what do you got here for this banger of a main event?
Yeah, this one, it's not hitting, but I got Adesanya by submission plus 1,400. This is one that's always probably going to tempt me when guys face Alex Pereira, who really just hasn't proven yet that he can really do anything in terms of his ground game ability. And it's not that Adesanya is like this world level grappler, but we have at least seen glimpses of it in a couple of his previous fights. Like he is certainly improving on the mat. So I think if there's a very small chance he can mix in some of the other martial arts here, I think he would have a pretty big edge on the mat. Like I said, it's not going to hit, but plus 1,400.
You never know. You never know, John
Sub
Kelly.
and sub.
That's true. Trayshawn Gore, 20-1.
There you go. You
so
never know. Martian.
Yeah, Fluffy Rodriguez did not sub that dude in 15 minutes of absolute annihilation mode, and then he gets fucking deaded by a choke by Trayshawn Gore. It was the craziest shit.
I mean, you don't need technique when you can literally pop a guy's head off.
That
his
was
shoulder,
the strength.
So
Yeah, that's the strength versus BJJ black belt right there. Exactly.
All right, Martian, what do you have here?
First of all, I love this comment. Is Tim high? Izzy literally got stretchered off. How could he be 2-0? So first of all, he's never been high ever. But anyway, he's taking some creative liberties here. Come on, like give the guy a break. But I mean, I like Izzy in this fight. I'll be on his money line. I struggle to see a whole lot of value prop wise, but if I had to, search for something, I would say Izzy 3-4-5 on FanDuel. It's 18, 23, and 29-1. I just think the later the fight goes, it's probably going to favor him. But again, this is a little bit of a community mush bet, possibly. Izzy, I got a real good number, minus 164. He's, way down to 210 now. I'm still pretty confident in Izzy. But it does, worry me a little bit how almost everybody seems to be on Izzy here.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Everybody is on Izzy. And when you watch back those two fights, like Izzy's like winning almost all the minutes in those fights. But yeah, he gets knocked out on a stretcher, whatever you want to call it. But I mean, this is much different, man. This is MMA. This is 5 rounds of 5 minutes per round. This is the bright lights for the world championship. I mean, this is something that Pereira's never faced, man. And let's be honest, like, does he have the cardio? Do we even know does he have the cardio to go 5 rounds in an MMA fight in a big spot for him? Like, Izzy's been here multiple times. That has to count for something. Like, if we talk about cardio dumps, if we talk about stuff like that, who is it bound to happen here to? It's definitely Alex Pereira. It's not Izzy, because Izzy's been here many times. And, round 3, 4, 5 by KO for Izzy is plus 950. I can see that definitely here because Alex Pereira, like, yeah, he's gone 3 rounds. Yeah, he showed, decent cardio, but against who? Against the guy that he was just like doing whatever he wanted with for the first couple of rounds in Bruno Silva. This guy knocked out Sean Strickland really early. He knocked out Michailidis pretty early in the second round. His lone loss has been, to a guy that he was death gassed against and choked out in round number 3, albeit many years ago. But this is 5 rounds, like I said, and I really like Izzy late round props here, man. Like, I played 3-4-5 by KO on FanDuel. It's plus 950. But I honestly, really think the submission prop is live. I think club and sub is very, very live. As Alex Pereira gets tired later, it's probably more bound to happen where he hits him, he hurts him, and maybe this guy drops and gets a submission. I'm going to give them out. They're astronomical. Submission 4 is 9,500 on FanDuel. Submission 5 is 11,000 on FanDuel. I played both of those. I sprinkled both of those because I honestly think club and sub is live here late. I think he has a huge cardio advantage here late. I'm on Izzy. I'm on Izzy late. I'm on Izzy pretty big. And like you said, the whole community is on Izzy. I have seen a lot of Alex Pereira, honestly, early. But of late, yeah, I've heard nothing but Izzy. I told myself last week I was looking at the line and it was like 164 on FanDuel. I'm like, oh, man, this line's too good. I have to hit it. And I totally forgot. And then the line moved up to 205. And eventually I got him at 205. But, yeah, I like the Izzy side, man. I think this is MMA. And if Izzy's smart, he even – just shows him some shots here, like to make him think about the takedown. The other thing I do want to say, and if you watched the Gastelum fight and the Tavares fight, he does go for submission attempts there against Gastelum. So Izzy might go for one. You never know. So give me those late round KO props, and I also played those late submission crazy number props there. So, yeah, guys, that's it. All 14 fights, 14 times 4 Lambo plays. Sometimes they're the same, but great show. Thank you to everybody in chat. Before I go on and end this, I know – where is he? I don't see him in chat yet, but I know he's going to ask for a Lambo Plays parlay. Sorry. I'm going to give you mine. My Lambo parlay is going to be Negumereanu by decision, Frankie Edgar by decision, and Hooker by decision. That will pay out 85-1. That's what I'm going to give out. It's a decision Lambo parlay. Tim, do you have yours?
Yeah, I do. Damn, I'm upset you guys both, you and Martian, think that Hooker's got the decision prop. I'm like, damn, I've got the inside the distance. I've got like 6 units on the money line and then 1 on inside the distance props. But so, yeah, I'll take Aaron Blanchfield by sub, Dan Hooker inside the distance. Let me see what this is. It's without Tim. Actually, Aaron by sub, Wei Lee by KO, and Izzy by KO is 52-1. And if you wanted to add Hooker inside the distance, it's 152-1.
All right. Tim, giving you the 152-1 if you want to get greasy, and then the 52-1 if you don't want to get so greasy. Kelly, what do you have here?
So I actually thought we were trying to win a Lambo with these parlays, like 150-1. It's just not going to do it. I mean, unless you're betting big. But I'm here for the people. I have a 1,227-1 parlay. So it is Frankie Edgar by points plus 320, Karolina Kowalkiewicz by submission plus 600, Carlos Ulberg by points plus 340, and Michael Chandler by knockout in round 1 plus 850. It is plus 122,792. So $100 pays $122,792.
Whoa. You're getting crazy here. John Kelly getting crazy, doing it for the people. That is definitely a Lambo parlay. Martian, your first ever Lambo parlay. Are you going to disappoint the people?
I was about to, because I had one concocted before this. I didn't know what I didn't realize the full definition of a Lambo parlay. I had Arce moneyline and Chandler moneyline for plus 722. Clearly, that's not good enough. So
that
can't even get you an Uber in this economy.
That's a Lambo. That's called a Lambo play.
So to get a little bit more on your guys' level, I'll do Karolina ITD, Blanchfield sub, Chandler points, pays 165-1. That's a little bit better. So
that's definitely better. That is a Lambo parlay. Thank you very much, Martian. You came through for the people with the Lambo parlay and didn't disappoint with the plus 722, which you can get on a damn any prop on this show. But yeah, guys, thank you very much. 77 of you still in here. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate each and every one of you. With that being said, I will kick it off to my guests, and I want to thank them first. John Kelly, thank you very much. Martian, thank you very, very much. I will kick it off to John Kelly. Please let the people know where they can find you and what you have going on.
Yeah, thanks again for having me on, Narco and Tim. You guys do an awesome job with this show. And thank you to the chat. Always has me rolling every time I come on here. They're a pretty lively bunch here, so it's fun to hang out with you guys for a bit. You guys could find me on Twitter and YouTube at John Kelly DFS.
Awesome. Go follow him. Great guy. Yeah, and we always have to shout out. This chat has been fire today. Even though they roasted my co-host on Twitter Spaces, he's a man that can take it pretty easily as well as give it. So, Martian, where can they find you? What do you have going on? And yeah, floor is yours.
Hell yeah, you know where you can find me. One of the most polarizing figures on Twitter at UFO_UFC, the head of the biggest betting MMA syndicate in the world on Discord. If you want to maybe join that, let me know. I'll get back to you in 6 months after the vetting process continues. And yeah, thanks to all the friends in the chat for providing some good entertainment. Thanks to the boys for having me on. And it's either going to be a real good night tomorrow night, or I feel like it's going to let us down. I don't think there's going to be any in between. We're either going to be down a lot of units, or we're going to be, popping Lambos off with the boys. So good luck, everybody.
Definitely go give this man a follow. Also, I will shout it out, the Ozzy and Martian podcast every week. He didn't mention it. I'll mention it. Very, very good podcast. Him and Ozzy do each and every week. And with that being said, Timothy Troiano, my co-host, what do you have going on? I know you have some spaces, maybe with our buddy Sean Orr. What else you got going?
Yeah, my dude Sean Orr and I are doing it tomorrow, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we get a bunch of guys in, a bunch of smart cappers that come in at the end and give their favorite plays. And yeah, it should be fun. Thanks again, guys, for coming on. It was great having you.
All right. Timothy, you know where to find him. They have the spaces tomorrow with our buddy Sean Orr. And you guys can follow me at Narcocop. Thank you very, very much. Go hit that like down below. Comment, do whatever you do. Subscribe to my channel. I appreciate each and every one of you. And we will be back tomorrow on Spaces. Me and my co-host, John the Martian. Last week, guys, if you missed it, it was incredible. There was plus 4,100s, plus 3,100s, you name it, all given out on that show. If you were there, you hit a lot of live plays. And John Martian is back this week because he's the man with the live plays. He's all over the books. So yeah, guys, thank you very, very much. Good luck tomorrow, and let's cash some